Hi guys. So if you feel it in your heart and you think you would like to support my channel, go check out the Patreon page down below. Have a wonderful meditation. Thank you.
Are we ready to meditate with Cory? Are you ready to lay down and try and be very, very still and quiet and peaceful inside? I want to tell you about a place far, far away. A place called Giant Land. Everyone and everything there was the biggest of its kind in the entire world. That's why it was known as Giant Land. Not everyone was invited to Giant Land. Only boys, girls, and animals that had lessons to learn could go and visit Giant Land. The grounds were run by giants. The people that lived there were all giants. The guides that worked on the visitors' days when people could come and visit were all giants, very sweet, clever, handsome sometimes, beautiful sometimes, giants. On this one particular day, they were expecting 3 visitors to Giant Land. It was a very special day. These 3 visitors had very special lessons to learn, and the guides that were taking them around Giant Land to help them find what they came for were very nice, special giants. There was Ben, the Border Collie. His giant guide was called Caspian. There was Pig, the pig, known as Pig, and his giant guide was called Corbin. And finally, there was Monkey the cow, and his guide was called Artemis. Ben, Pig, and Monkey were very excited to be in Giant Land. They'd been waiting a very long time for their invitation. You have to send an invitation to get there. You have to have a particular problem in your life that you might not think is a problem, but it may be a problem, but it's a lesson, something that you're actually having to learn. And most people that come to Giant Land don't even realize that they need help with a lesson. Most people or animals that come to Giant Land think they're on a special hunt for something giant, something that's the biggest in the entire world. Let's take Ben, the Border Collie, for example. But Ben was on the hunt for the biggest golden bone, which makes total sense because Ben was a Border Collie, and having the biggest golden bone in the world, well, that would be kind of cool, wouldn't it? Ben's guide knew exactly where to take him. Caspian was an expert guide. He'd lived in Giant Land his whole life, so he knew where the biggest golden bone was. It was only going to take them about 5 minutes to get to it. So let's follow their journey first. They walked through the trees, they walked over a small hill, and then down a small hill. They crossed a creek, and on the other side of the creek, before Ben even reached the creek, he could see the sunlight shining, reflecting off something very, very big and very, very golden. He started to wag his tail and get very excited. He got so excited, he started to run ahead of Caspian until he reached the bone, sat there, started to pant, sticking out his tongue. He was so excited. Caspian said, "Here is the biggest giant golden bone in the entire world. And it's all yours, Ben. But first, there's a message on the bone just for you." Ben started to wag his tail. He stood up. He was pacing back and forward, looking all around the bone, until Caspian kicked over the bone, so the bone was upside down, and there was a piece of paper sticking to the base of the bone. Caspian took off the piece of paper and read the message to Ben the Border Collie. The message said, "When I breathe and count to 3, it calms me down so I can be. When I breathe and count to 3, it calms me down so I can be." Ben the Border Collie instantly took a nice deep breath. In his mind, he counted to 3 as he breathed. 1, 2, 3. He noticed in his body that he felt calmer just by taking a nice deep breath and saying to himself in his mind, "When I breathe and count to 3, it calms me down so I can be." Caspian the guide said, "When you're calm, Ben, it's much easier to think. And when you think, you don't just react. You listen to your head before you speak or before you do something. So your lesson is to learn to breathe and count to 3. When I breathe and count to 3, it calms me down so I can be." Over on the other side of Giant Land, Pig was following his giant guide, Corbin. They walked down through the stream, through lots and lots of trees, all different shades and colors, yellows, greens, browns, all different shapes, and all the leaves were falling on the ground as if it was autumn. And as they walked, Pig was kicking his feet walking through the leaves, watching all the different colours flying around his feet as he walked. That alone was the coolest thing ever, thought Pig. Pig was on the search. He was on the search for the biggest, muddiest puddle in the entire world. Pig, the pig, had been looking and waiting and hoping to get to Giantland one day because he'd heard that Giantland was the only place that you could ever find the biggest, muddiest puddle in the entire world. And Pig was right. Corbin, his giant guide, was quite quiet. But Corbin knew the lands just as much as Ben, and he too had lived there all his life. So he knew that they had to go to the part of Giantland where it would be rainy, where maybe it was autumn, where the weather was just right, where they would find the biggest puddle ever. It didn't take too long. It took them about 10, maybe 15 minutes to get to the giant puddle. They came over a hill, and as they got to the top of the hill, Pig looked down and saw it. It's so beautiful, said Pig. It's the biggest, muddiest. It's even bigger than I thought it would be in all of my dreams. This is the bestest, biggest puddle I have ever seen. Oh, my giddy, galloping hooves, I can't believe it, said Pig. Pig, just like Ben the Border Collie, got very excited and started to run down the hill towards the puddle. Not stopping, slid straight across the mud into the center of the puddle, rolled around on his back, splashed, kicked, giggled, laughed, snorted, and got mud up his nose. He was the happiest pig in the entire world. Corbin said to the pig, "We have to dress something more serious, Pig. Now that you've got your gift of the biggest, muddiest puddle in the entire world, let's talk about something more serious." "What's that?" said Pig. "Well, here at Giantland, everyone that comes has a lesson to learn. And your lesson, my little friend, is to learn how to forgive. I have a message for you. It goes like this. If I get hurt or I feel sad, it's good to forgive so I don't feel bad. If I get hurt or I feel sad, it's good to forgive so I don't feel bad," said Corbin to the pig, known as Pig. Pig sat still in the middle of the puddle and said, "Well, I do tend to take things a little bit serious sometimes, and I do have a hard time letting go of the fact that if someone says something mean or does something mean, sometimes it really hurts and I don't know what to do about that." Corbin said, "I know. That's why this is your lesson, pig. I'll repeat the lesson again for you to remember, so that you can say it in your mind whenever in the future you get upset. All you have to do is say to yourself, if I get hurt or I feel sad, it's good to forgive so I don't feel bad. Corbin said to Pig, when we forgive, it means we're not carrying around the hurt anymore. And it's the hurt when we hold it inside that's really, really hard and painful for us. So when we forgive, we always feel better. It's good to forgive. Far on the other end of Giant Land was Monkey the cow. Monkey the cow was on the search for the biggest superhero in the entire world. There were many superheroes where he was from that come in many different forms. He even had bigger brothers, older cows that he thought were just like superheroes. But Monkey wanted to meet the biggest superhero in the world. And that's why he went to Giant Land. Monkey's guide, Artemis, was a fun character. He was a very sweet giant. Like the other two guides, he'd lived there all his life. But Artemis was kind of like, he had a jump in his step. He was happy all the time and smiling all the time, and he was just a nice giant all round. And Artemis knew exactly where to take Monkey the cow to find the biggest superhero in the world. There was a very special river where the superhero lived. Artemis walked Monkey the cow down a long path, and at the end of the path turned from concrete into gravel, and then from gravel into dirt, and then from dirt into grass, and then all of a sudden into a river. A big, wide, very peaceful river. It looked like a lake as well as a river. It was calm. It wasn't rushing water all over the place. It was calm, but it wasn't as wide as a lake would be. But it was very beautiful. Monkey thought it was very, very picturesque. And the waters were calm and they looked very, very clear. He actually thought he would like to have a drink from that lake. Artemis walked Monkey towards the very tip of the lake. He said to Monkey, "Look down. What do you see?" Monkey looked down and saw his reflection. He was a very handsome cow. He was white with one patch of dark black over one of his eyes, and both of his ears were black and he smiled at his reflection, and he said to Artemis, "I see myself." And Artemis said, "Yes. Your lesson, my friend, is that you are the biggest superhero. Look down at your reflection." Monkey the cow looked again down at his reflection in the water and thought he was a little bit confused at first, but then he started to understand what Artemis was saying. "I'm the biggest superhero in the entire world," said Monkey. Artemis said, "Yes. But let me tell you, don't you ever let anyone or anything or any situation take away your smile. Your smile is your biggest superhero power." Monkey the cow looked down at his reflection again and did a big cheesy smile at himself, staring back at the water. "I do have a good smile, don't I?" said Monkey. He smiled and stared at himself very happily, realizing that all this time he'd been looking at other giants, other people, other things, as if they were superheroes, when really, in truth, Monkey was his own superhero all along, and it was because he had a very brilliant smile. He was very happy with himself, discovering this lesson about life. Ben, Pig, and Monkey left Giant Land that day, very different animals. Each one with a lesson, each one with an answer to fix the lesson. And all they went for was to find the biggest puddle, to find the biggest bone, and to find the biggest superhero, and they came back from Giant Land with so much more than that. They'd learned things about themselves that made life super cool from that day forward. Now, how cool is that? Okay, my little friends, if you haven't fell asleep already, make sure you close your eyes. You lay on your side or your back or your tummy in your favorite position to fall to sleep. Tonight we can dream about Giant Land as we fall to sleep and all of the ginormous things that live there. Ginormous, biggest ice creams in the world. Ginormous, biggest flowers in the world. Ginormous, biggest snowflakes in the world. Can you imagine? Let your body start to relax as your mind starts to get sleepy. Time to let your body rest and recover from your day so that you'll be all renewed and energized and ready to go tomorrow and have a really good day. Let your feet and your ankles and your legs get heavy. Your arms, your hands, your shoulders get heavy. Your tummy, your back, your chest gets heavy. Your head, your eyes, your nose all get heavy. Your entire body is sleepy, comfy, warm.